Well, it's all change in the greenhouse, so I thought just ahead of doing the sowing guide for maple, I thought we'd just check in and have a look at the seedling progress in here. The allotment is fully planted now, which is really nice. I'm just about to start replanting this kitchen garden, and so a lot of these veggies will be sort of going out, so it's kind of timely now to go through the state that we're in here. And we'll start with the trees. The apricot tree is looking pretty nice now, it's coming out in leaf, and the nectarine tree has still got a little bit of blossom on it, but it's all in leaf as well, so that's really nice. So as soon as those are in leaf and the blossoms have fallen, those trees move outside, and that makes space, much needed space, for cucumbers and beans, French beans. The cucumbers are growing nicely in the conservatory right now, so they'll move in here, or at least one of them will. And that'll grow up there quite nicely. And then, as I say, French beans up in that corner there. So then behind me, these two successions of peas, this is much further on than this one, but that one's just starting to flower, and that one's been in flower for a little bit. They will also move outside. So in April, they'll move outside. And I should probably say the date. It's the 23rd of March. And then that will make space for two cordon tomatoes. And they're here. One of them is a honeycomb, and one of them is a sun gold. And then I've got a few lettuces in these hanging baskets which are no longer available, unfortunately, so don't ask me where to get them from. And if anybody does find out where to get them from, please let me know, because I'd really like some more of them. But into those will go some tumbling tom yellows, which are, not a week away, maybe 2 weeks away from being planted out in the hanging baskets, and the red profusions. So they're looking really nice. And I've got loads of these down here. And some of those will go on the allotment, and some of them will stay in here. The ones in here will set fruit. So at the moment, I don't want anything set in fruit because the plants are too small. And they're not planted in their final containers. So I'm keeping the greenhouse above 10 degrees centigrade at night, which actually it does pretty much on its own, but because it's, there's a lot of thermal mass in here, because it's got this stone floor, it's got the brick wall, it's got all these containers and things in here, so there's a lot of thermal mass, so it keeps pretty warm at night. But at 10 degrees centigrade, nothing will set fruit. So the peppers won't set fruit, the tomatoes won't set fruit, the cucumbers, if they were in here, won't set fruit, but the peas will, and the nectarines will, and the apricots will, and that's all that I care about at the moment. Later on in April, once these things are planted out into their final pots, I will raise the temperature in here to 15 degrees C. And at 15 degrees C, all those fruits that I just mentioned will all start to set fruit. And so I'll be really happy about that. That's kind of a milestone. But for now, the milestone is they're all in here. And these are just the super early things, all the main crop things, because people always say to me, you're so far ahead. But I'm not that far ahead. I'm often probably behind most people, because I haven't even sown main crop tomatoes yet. I haven't even, my main crop peppers are only that big, little tiny things, because I won't be planting them out until the middle to the late May. So I don't want them very big at the moment. But these I do want big, because these are the ones we're going to be eating in May and June and early July. And so they're super earlies just for those early harvests. So the peppers are here, and they're all looking quite nice. And I'm leaving, as I say, I always say this, but it's worth repeating, just to keep an eye out for aphids. I'll leave a few flowers on, because you can really easily see the aphids on the white flowers, and they're really difficult to spot if you don't have a flower to sort of help you out. At least they are for my eyes anyway. So that's what I've got there. And then up here, I've got all my main crop onions. So I've got, I probably can't remember what they all are. So I've got Vento, Red Baron, Sturon, Rose Roscoff, Carmen, Zebrun, and I think that's it. And then I've got some leeks at the other end, 2 successions, a summer leek and a leek for an autumn leek, Pobello. Summer leek is Hilary or Hillary. And soon I'll be sowing my winter leeks. So then on here, or actually on the floor here, I've got 2 successions of potatoes, one to go along here in containers where these beet leaves are and chard leaves, and these we're harvesting these for salad leaves at the moment to just provide some extra variety over and above the lettuces and the spinach and all the other things we have in our salads. So there'll be a few in containers down here, and then they'll go outside fairly soon, and then the rest of them will go in the ground. And these 2 successions here follow on from the 3 successions that I've got growing at the moment in the polytunnel. And I've got Swift for the first succession, Vita Noir for the second succession, and Charlotte for the third succession. And I've basically duplicated that here as well. So I get a nice steady harvest from, I'm aiming for the end of April for my first harvest. Although obviously I could harvest earlier, but you know, you're just compromising on size. And I don't need to, because I've got plenty of potatoes in containers that I started sort of in July time. The ones you start in July, I find they don't start to sprout quite as early as the ones that you start in, say, March, April time. So they're in better condition, and I leave them in the containers, and they're generally still in good condition by the end of April, and then basically they run out, and I start with the ones that are in the polytunnel. They were in here, but they take up too much space in here, so they're in the polytunnel, taking up too much space in there. So then I've got my brassicas down there, and I've got so many successions of brassicas in the ground already. So I've got loads of cauliflowers, loads of calabrese in the ground already, loads of kales, loads of cabbages, but the ones that I've got in here are these savoys, which are about to get planted out actually. So I've got 9 Preludium early savoys, the sort of savoys that come about that sort of size, not like that, sort of about that sort of size. So that's 6 to 8 inches or something like that. So a really nice small Savoy cabbage, perfect for spring and summer harvests. And I've got 3 successions of those. And then I've got parsley there, strawberries there. Again, they're about to get planted out. So lots of this is about to get planted out because I've got a whole new set of things coming in here. And then I've got all my main crop brassicas. So I've got red Ladero red cabbages, dazzling blue kale, Pentland brig kale, red boar kale, scarlet kale, black magic kale, Caraflex spring cabbages, but they won't be ready until summer, colettes, which will go on the allotment. I've got all my colettes there. Look, I'm just looking at them now, looking really nice. So they're feeding us at the moment. And then I've got my last succession of the Preludium, these baby savoys. And then when that last succession of cabbages finishes and those Caraflex spring cabbages finish, then we'll have our early succession of red cabbages on the allotment. They'll be ready. And then when they start to finish, we'll have our winter savoys. Well, we'll have all those other red cabbages there, and then we'll have our winter savoys. I've got some graffiti cauliflowers and some marathon calabrese. And as I said, I've got 2 more successions of those on the allotment at the moment. The biggest ones are sort of this sort of size, and then I've got some about this sort of size. And then I've got a slightly earlier or later on succession of all those same things. So all those different same types of kale and the graffiti cauliflowers and the marathon calabrese down there. And then up here I've got peppermint, lilia salad onions waiting to go out. I've got loads of salad onions out now already. Lettuce is looking beautiful, lots of different varieties of those. Tatsoi, red stem pak choi, got loads of those out, which we're harvesting at the moment. Radishes to take over from the ones we're harvesting at the moment. Turnips, we're not quite harvesting turnips at the moment, but we will be harvesting them within a week or so. So that's another succession of those. Some more mint, and celery, and load of beetroot. So some of that beetroot will be planted for a summer harvest. I'll have another succession coming soon for our storage beetroot, and the stuff that we'll eat over winter. And then loads of them will go into sort of tubs like this or into the ground like this, planted really densely for a leaf harvest, because we really enjoy the beetroot as a leaf harvest all the way through the year as part of our salad mixes. And then I've got the early strawberries, which are all in fruit now. So they flowered about a month ago, so they've all set fruit. So I'm hoping for a harvest of those strawberries in hopefully by the middle of April, something like that. Yeah, and so that's everything that we've got in here in the greenhouse now. So we're just about to do a lot of sowing to replace all the stuff that I'm just about to plant out, because there's a lot of stuff here that's ready to plant. Peppers are going to be ready to plant in about 2 to 3 weeks' time. The tomatoes should be ready to plant in about 2 to 3 weeks' time. Potatoes are ready to plant out now. Some of these brassicas are ready to plant out now. The celery is ready to go into the polytunnel now. The lettuces are ready. The Asian greens are ready. The cabbages are ready. The peas are ready to go outside. So there's a lot happening. It's always like that. It's a real production line, this greenhouse. I like it to be a production line, ever changing, constantly sort of in churn. Keeps the pests down a little bit when you keep on changing things. Don't let things stay in here for too long. That's why I do everything in containers, so I can, even the peppers and things like that will start off in here and then move outside. Once it gets really warm in sort of July time, gets a bit hot for peppers in the greenhouse then. Same with the tomatoes and all that. So lots to keep track of there. You can keep up to date with everything that I'm doing if you look at my newsletter. You can find that at steverichards.substack.com. Goes through everything that I'm doing basically, so everything that I'm sowing, pricking out, potting on, planting, harvesting and all that sort of thing, as well as loads and loads of additional information on topical, relevant things for the time of year. So yeah, link in the description for that, and links to all my other resources as well that you can find down there in the description. My name's Steve. I'll see you soon.